certain time frame that it would continue through if for some reason funding went away?
Well, we are, um, so as you all know, we contract with the University of North Dakota Environment and Energy Research Center. They actually have a whole kind of developer online programming website developer piece of their office. So we contract with them, and they are the ones who host the portal. They're the ones who code the portal, create the portal, the developer sits there, etc. So our contract with them, I think, goes from February to February. Let me see if Kirsten's on. I don't think she's on. So at the bare minimum through February of 2026, but like I said, we will really work on keeping it open, figuring out with North Dakota what we can do to keep it going. Um, and hopefully we hear something soon. Okay, so we are going to start off this portal partner quarterly sharing call with a mini presentation from our friends in New Hampshire. So Jody and Reagan are going to talk about something that Jody kind of hinted at during our last quarterly portal partner meeting about some great success that they had with a leads campaign. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let Jody share hers
Perfect. Thank
and
you.
just give it over to them. So we'll just do this mini presentation and then have some time for Q&A, and then I will go into some of the new features in the portal. So go for it, Jody and Reagan.
Yeah, so hi everyone. It's nice to see you all. I'm trying to adjust my screen so that I can actually see you all. But I'm thrilled to be talking a little bit more with Reagan from our team about what I had mentioned last time. So we work closely with Emily Bird at the state of New Hampshire to work on offering Walk with Ease and other chronic disease self-management programs. Right now we have an ACL AOA CDSME grant. So we actually were awarded a no-cost extension for a year. We're thrilled to be able to get our numbers wrapped up. And rumor is maybe the funding will be re-released. It was supposed to be posted April 23rd, which is it's forecasted again, the grant that was pulled back in February. But and I think Falls Prevention Grant is in the same status. It was reforecasted, supposed to go live April 23rd, and we know nothing. But we are thrilled though with Walk with Ease. So Walk with Ease is a new program for us to be offering at the AHEC, the Area Health Education Center. We've been doing the Stanford programs, chronic disease, chronic pain, diabetes, Tamondo, some combination of all of them for the last, I think, almost 15 years now. So when we received this ACL grant, we added the self-management Walk with Ease. And so at first, we were struggling really to get good engagement, especially for the in-person program, because that requires the 3 time a week participation. But really, with the more that we were out in the community and talking with folks, self-directed really was of interest. And we were getting some traction, but we really were struggling with our numbers. And then Reagan came on our team, and we were able to hire her in a full-time capacity after she graduated, and has really helped us level up a lot of our social media and marketing and graphic event opportunities. And we were able to do some pretty neat stuff using Meta and some leads campaigns for Walk with Ease. So Reagan really is the star of this show. I'm just here to set the stage. And this is a spoiler if anyone's going to be at Age Plus Action hosted by NCOA the end of this month. In DC, we're giving another similar presentation that goes a little bit more into some of the other stuff we're doing as well. So please, if you're there, come find us and say hi. So I'll turn it over to Reagan.
Yeah, I'm excited to be with you all today. We've had a lot of success with the Facebook lead, so I'm hoping that's something we're able to share and you're able to find that too. So the case study that we worked on, as Jody said, we had this grant for Walk with Ease. We were aiming to get 1,050 participants over 3 years. And so it was a pretty slow decline or increase. The problem we were having was we weren't getting a lot of these signups, but also that it was taking a lot of human legwork to get our in-person signups,
Yep.
by sending someone to a whole conference just to get 2 or 3 signups. We're trying to be out in the community, getting outreach wasn't really working with us. And the traditional Facebook link clicks ads were not incredibly successful for us. So our solution was to do a Facebook in Meta, so that includes Instagram leads campaign. And our first 3 leads campaigns got over 210 leads and conversions that signed up. So you can see the spike in the graph where we had implemented the leads campaigns, that we're adding more than 50% of our numbers are from this leads campaign. And they come at an average price conversion of $2.10, which compared to our previous ones with all the in-person events that we were sending staff to and the other ads that we were paying for, these have ended up to be a lot cheaper. So we started implementing this in November 2024. And since then, we've got 266 participants signed up through our leads. Overall, the budgets are around $150 per campaign, but they're quite flexible. Some of them we've had run for 2 weeks, some ran for a month, and we were able to see success on budgets as low as $5 a day, which is really exciting for us as we are on a budget, but we really are getting to the places online that we weren't able to get to before. Next slide. So what is a Facebook lead? It is a form of meta paid advertising. So it'll advertise on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. And the benefit of it is that it allows users to fill out a quick survey in the app. They don't have to go to a different website. They don't have to go to another location, which is really helpful because sometimes when someone has to go to an external website, if it won't load or if it closes out the app they were looking at, they don't want to do it. So they're able to fill out the information right in the app. And so we have a customized survey that has the questions we're asking for our Walk with Ease registration. And these become accessible through the ads manager once you get them submitted. And it makes it really easy to follow up with participants as they'll give you their email, sometimes their phone number, and you can really get in contact with them. And they're a lot more engaged than a traditional ad recipient. Like for instance, Facebook has a campaign where you could do a traffic ad where the goal would be to get link clicks, but these will serve this to people who might click on the link but won't fully be converted to a participant. So they might go to your website, but they won't fill out the form. But here, Facebook is serving these to people who they think will fill out the form. And because they're designed that way, they have a lot higher registration rate for lower costs. And leads are user-friendly on desktop and mobile devices, which is great. So people can see wherever they're surfing. And you really can target your ideal audience too, which we'll talk about a little bit later. You can customize your budget. Generally, strong performance is around about $11 a day. But as I said, we've seen strong performance from $5 all the way up to $20 will get you really strong. And you don't have to run them for a certain amount of time. A few days is really good. Or if you have a more extensive budget, you can do it for a month and it'll reach different areas in your location, which is really great. One of the key factors of it is the quick customer response time, that you as the ad runner are going to want to respond to these people really quickly. So they'll come into your lead center and you're going to want to register them and reply to them really quickly. The sooner you reply, the more likely this potential participant is to remember why they signed up for it and to complete the course or to show up to the class. This is helpful, like, so that they don't lose motivation to do the class or have found something else to do instead. So the quicker you can respond to them, the better.
So Reagan, a question came up in the chat that Lakin asked that I think was a really good question. I think I know the answer, but you're my guru in this space. So they asked if you need a Facebook or Instagram page tied to your organization for the work, or can you set it up on a personal account and still push it out related to work? I think there needs to be a business page like a work page that you're manager of, correct?
Yeah, so for this ads, some ads you can run just right from Facebook. This one has to be run from the ads manager, which is only available to business accounts. You could look into changing your personal account to a business account. It really wouldn't change much other things than it would provide you additional tools and metrics to see your audience. But I believe it does have to be a business account in order to run this type of ad.
But for example, like, and I can, well, because Reagan doesn't mess up the system, she does it all, but she's logging in through a generic, we have kind of a generic AHEC personal account that's linked with our professional page so that she has full access to the ads manager. So if you have a company page and your personal account is set up as an administrator on that page, you don't have to set up a new account to get in to go to the business suite and set up the ads. And then I see more questions in the
Yeah,
chat.
this is a great question. Do you use these ads for Walk with These self-directed or a program that involves a coach? So generally, we have used this for self-directed, and that's the graph that I showed earlier is about self-directed. But we have also run this for our diabetes self-management class. The ones that require an in-person time are they don't strike with quite as many people because people have busy schedules and things like that. So the conversion price ends up being a lot more expensive, somewhere between $6 and $12 per conversion, which is generally a lot more than we're looking for.
Yeah, and we did have, I think, 15 people who had signed up for the class through the diabetes self-management at Leads campaign, and we only had six who actually attended, and then two never came. So we had six who attended one class and four completers. So really, we're finding it most effective for the self-directed, where people can do it at their own pace, at their own time.
Yeah, so we're not going to talk about all these vocab words, but I think the presentation might be available to you after, if you'd like. But some important things to note are conversions. They're what Meta calls when the information you get from a lead results in your desired action, which for Walk with Ease, for us, it's registering them successfully in the portal. So you call someone converted once they've gone from just giving you their information to you being able to have complete the task. And Meta also calls creatives as the designs and images that make up a picture. So they'll ask you to put in the creatives, and that's just the picture that you want to go with your ad. Next. So one of the great things about meta advertising is that you can really customize to your ad audience. So it's important to know who's on your page, who's in your geographical area, and what kind of people you're trying to target. So for us, for instance, our grant focuses on people in New Hampshire. So we only set the ad to show to people who live and work in New Hampshire. So only for their geographical settings are they set to that. And other demographic factors can be really important, like age and gender can influence maybe the way you might word the ad. And we also try to keep it relevant to the season. If I'm running an ad right now, I'm like, oh, like it's spring, like everyone's excited to go outside. Or if it's in the winter, you might want to use a more winter imagery. And so they'll let you get pretty specific with the ad targeting, which I find is a lot more helpful for getting actual conversions to show to people who are really interested in your ad. For instance, our Walk with Ease doesn't have a lot of youth who are interested in it. So I'll generally start the ad around 30 or 35 years old to older. And if you're curious about who's in your audience, the Meta Business Suite provides audience insights. So it'll show you demographics like age, gender, location. It'll also show you hobbies and what platform they're seeing you on. So you can go ahead and take a look at that to understand who your current audience is. And that can help you target your ads to them as well and people who look like them. Thanks. So here are some examples of our creatives, as they say. You can see these are from different sets, seasonally themed. And it's important that you make a creative for each ad size. As you can see, there are 3 sizes here. So the way that the Facebook and Instagram platforms are they'll show it in a bunch of different ways. So they could be in stories, or they could be on reels, which is the vertical one. They could be in posts like that, or they'll sometimes come across as the horizontal one. So you want to be able to make sure that you make a version of these in each size so that you're hitting every place that they could possibly be shown. If you're only putting in one size, it's limiting the amount of places that'll show it, so that'll get you something more expensive. Um, it's also important to turn off Advantage Plus enhancements, which is AI run by Meta. And so they'll add like images or text overlays. And some of the images are not what you would choose, or they're so AI generated that they're like a little bit creepy. But also something you want to watch out for is they'll offer to add music for you. But sometimes the trending music can be explicit and so not favorable to the audience we're looking for. So you can add your own music if you'd like, and if you want music, I'd recommend doing that. But it's important to turn off all of those Advantage Plus enhancements because they give you less control over what you're putting in there. Next. So a little bit about the process on how we set it up. As I mentioned, you have to do it in Ads Manager instead of just the ad page in Facebook. So you can create a new campaign. The buying type is auction, which I think most people do for the rest of their ads as well. And it's important that you set the campaign objective to leads. That's how you'll get the survey that you're looking for. And we choose instant forms as your conversion. Otherwise, they can like send you messages or things, but we find that instant forms is the most like profitable. And the performance goal we choose is maximize the number of conversions. They also have one that asks for the most in-depth, which I don't find necessary because here you're asking for a little bit about the class and about who they are, but a lot on their mailing address if you're going to send them a book, or their email and their name. And this is generally information Meta already has stored. So they'll click on it and most of the survey will autofill for them, which people really like. So it's really quick, which is really beneficial. And like I said, you put in the audience controls to target your audience. And then you can upload your ad creatives, and you're going to want to make sure that they fit the pixels. So you can check to see if it's going to crop it for you. You're going to watch out for that because it might cut off some of the things you want. And you can create an existing form or create a new one. So once you've done it before, you can just keep using that same form. But for the first time, you can go in and customize all your questions. You can choose between open response, multiple choice, check boxes, all that kinds. You can put your logo on it and all your titles and things like that. And then once they complete it, they'll see a little message, and you can have whatever you want. Say, we're like, thank you for submitting. Someone will be in contact with you shortly. Here's the link to our website where they can go. And you also have to include a link to your privacy policy, which is helpful. It like builds trust with your audience, especially because you're collecting personal information from them. Next. So once someone sees your ad, fills out the form, and submits it to you, it arrives in the lead center, which is a section of the ads manager. And so every time the leads come in, they're marked as intake. And if you have multiple people on your business account, you can assign someone to do it. I go in and do all mine, so I don't assign them. But then once you're able to successfully input them into the registration system, so for us, it's making sure that they go through the Walk with Ease portal and they're successfully registered in that, we move them to converted. There's also the people who have like an email that's already in use, or they'll provide you an invalid email. And so these people aren't able to be successfully registered in the portal. So we'll mark those as not qualified. And so those won't count in your reporting, and they'll also go to a separate section so you can look at them after. When you're setting up the campaign, you can choose if you want someone to submit the form to start a instant message with you. And so it'll also send their information there. I find that helpful so that if their email is invalid or it's already in use, I can go ahead and message them and say, hi, like you already have an account under this email. Here's how you change your password. Or I can let them know that it seemed to be an invalid email. Can you send me your proper email? And I'll set it up for them.
And I think with that, it's
Yeah.
important that it's really helpful because you can't message someone unless they message you first. So If we didn't set it up that way, we wouldn't be able to reach out to the folks that didn't maybe had a typo or didn't put their email address the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. Next. Yeah, and so here's an example of what the form response looks like. So you can see them, you can export the information into a Google Sheet if you'd like. I like to look at them one by one so that I can register them in the portal, and they'll show all the questions that you're interested in. And so what I do is to save time, I'm generally sending the same email to a bunch of people all at once. And especially when it's around 200 people, I'll set up an email template about it. So this template includes a message about what the portal is and what to expect when they get in it. It includes a link to the portal as well as the username and password that you set up for them. For their username, I always just use their email, so it's easy for them to remember. And we also use this as an opportunity to advertise our other upcoming classes as people who are interested in improving their health and wellness and potentially have chronic diseases and things like that. We'll promote our chronic disease self-management or our diabetes self-management. So I'll include that as well as the Walk with Ease next steps that you get when you're in the portal. I'll include that as an attachment.
And if anyone
Next.
was curious, this form is actually from the diabetes self-management class. So what the process is a little bit different. We have a participant baseline survey that they're completing. So we ask just some bare minimums to get them into our Eventbrite. But it does look, it's similar, but a little bit different for what we're asking for a Walk with Ease to get them into the self-directed.
Yeah, so that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any more questions now, or if you have questions when you're setting it up, happy to answer any emails or hop on a quick call with you if you have anything else.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Reagan and Jody. Anybody have questions right now?
I have one other one. So you mentioned about Walk with Ease. Obviously, it would be all of New Hampshire that you're targeting. But if you did have another program that was more specific to a very specific location, are you able to drill it down to that specific of an area that people in that area would receive the message?
Yeah, absolutely. You can get as specific as a town if you want. And then they have a radius on it that you can choose 10 miles outside the town or such. So sometimes we'll focus on just a region of New Hampshire, so call it Seacoast. So I'll put in all the towns of Seacoast. And so it'll focus on just that one region of New Hampshire, or you could focus on just one town. It's important to note that the smaller you make your audience, the more expensive the conversions tend to be, as there's less people there who are responding to your ad. But we've seen good results from ads targeted to specific regions. And I would imagine you get good results from a town as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially where Michigan is so big compared to New Hampshire. You've got like if you're looking for like Metro Detroit or Greater Grand Rapids or something like that, you could do, our whole state is about the size of the Metro Detroit area population wise. So you can do some cool stuff with it.
I have
Thanks.
a quick question. So you mentioned that um, they were able to target people that were more likely to sign up. And was that you making some decisions like this is who our population is, or is that a meta thing?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. I should make the decision on the age demographic that we're looking for. So sometimes I'll run it from 30 plus, sometimes I'll run it from 40 plus. And so that's a choice that I'm making, that I don't think this is a program that young people are gonna be super interested in. So that's a choice that I'm making. But also Meta has a like hobbies and interests category that you can look at for that. It's not something that I've experimented with, but it's definitely an option. I find that not everybody updates their Facebook profiles so much so to keep up to date with their hobbies or if they have a current health condition. So generally it's those choices that I'm making, and we find that a lot of our participants also are women, but we do have some men, so I don't exclude that to women. But it will still serve it to people it thinks are most likely to respond. So I do think that when filtering, auctioning, and choosing who to put the ad in front of, it does just put it in front of women more frequently.
Mhm. Mhm. I wonder if it puts it in front of people who have clicked on other like health related ads or that kind of thing too. I wonder, or physical activity ads or ads about a knee brace or something like that.
I know I'm in the target demographic for the program as an over 40 female in New Hampshire, and I see them anytime we run a campaign both on Facebook and Instagram. So they're really slick in the way that you can just click a couple of buttons to answer the questions that we need to get them into the portal. So there is the human component of Reagan entering everyone into the portal after they've done the lead conversion, but it really, we've got a good process and she can get to it pretty quickly because the idea came about last fall when we were doing an in-person tabling event. We said, oh, we want people to sign up for Walk with Ease and promote the program there. And our community health worker had an iPad and the portal was just kind of clunky. There wasn't great internet service there. And so we made a short form. So it's a sheet where the top half of the page is the data that we need, the bottom half for some instructions. And so we said, all right, how do we take this that's been so successful for in person and put it virtual?
Yeah, awesome. That's so great. And I'm going to be highlighting today our new registrar feature. So I think that'll help you, um, I hope, for
Yeah.
some of those other in-person events too. But yeah, that's great.
Thanks
Awesome.
for having us today. Did anybody else have any other questions?
Okay.
Always happy to talk about
Thank
Walk with
you.
Ease. So
Yeah, and thanks for sharing. Reagan, will you put your email in the chat if you don't mind sharing it with
Absolutely.
people too? That would be great. So that they can reach out to you directly. Awesome. Um, I'm gonna, as I said, I'm gonna jump into kind of sharing the latest and greatest with the portal now. And then hopefully we also have some time to answer any questions that you all might have on any features that you're struggling with or not sure about how to use. So this is the new login page. If you have a user account or if you have an administrator account and you go to log in, this is what it looks like now. It used to basically just have this portion right here, the login with the username and password. So now we have created this login without a password option. So if people don't have their password, forgot their password, just prefer to get a link in their email or via text, they can do it that way. So basically, they'll just come here, they'll put in the email that they created that is associated with their account. And when they click send code via email, so the next screen, and I'm not going to go through this, but I encourage you all to do it. So the next screen will then be enter the code that came to your email. So we've all seen this kind of multi-factor authentication type thing. And then they will be able to log in with the code that was sent to their email or to their phone. So just hoping that that kind of decreases any sort of login barriers for people. So the next thing I am going to demonstrate is our messaging feature that has been updated. So as you all know, we have kind of our campaigns, and those are the weekly emails and text messages that go out once a week for, I think it's 7 weeks. And then there's a welcome message as well. Rooster. My dog sounds so funny. Um, so those are considered the campaigns, and those are they can be customized, but they're set to occur at specific intervals throughout the program. What people were interested in doing was creating this kind of one-off messages that maybe they needed to reach out to a specific person or a specific group. Maybe they wanted to reach out to everyone who had registered in the month of January and send additional information. So now if you go to messages and then messaging center, you will be brought to this screen. And from this screen, you can either check a whole group. So if you have your custom groups, you can check a whole group, or you click on the arrow next to the group and it will let you drop down and see. So you can see, okay, well, I'm going to send a message, and you can filter this as well. I'm going to send a message to everyone who has not started the program. So just as an example, and then you create the message that you want to send to them. So maybe it's reminder to start Walk with Ease or something like that. So you come down here to this template right here and you click on the template on the right and you go ahead and you insert whatever message you want to put in it. You know, for this example, it might be, you know, we noticed you've registered for Walk with Ease and you haven't started yet. Just wanted to reach out and see if you have any questions or anything like that. And then once you create it, you would, you can also send a text message. So you would create the text message here. Just kind of reminder to log in, or we hope you start soon, or whatever that message is. These eyes right here have more information on kind of basically what I'm saying to you right now. And then you'll save it and then you can preview it down below by putting in your phone number, your email, and then you can send it to yourself and see what it looks like. And then you can also schedule a time to send it. So you could send it right now, or you could send it in a week. So this is just kind of an additional way to reach out to people with additional information, important, you know, things that are going on in the community or things to note about Walk with Ease, those kinds of things. So any questions about that? Okay, so again, this is separate from the weekly messages. So we have several messages that kind of happen throughout the course of Walk with Ease. So first they'll register and they get the welcome message. And then once they start the program, they'll get week 1. And then every week after that, they'll get the following weeks of the campaign. There is the just regular template campaign, default campaign that's in the system, or if you have assigned a different campaign to a group or person, they will get that campaign. There is also messages that come out that are automated through the system, and they are based specifically on the activities of the participant and their interaction with the portal. So if somebody has, you know, registered, they started the program, and then they didn't, you know, walk this week, or they didn't log in this week, they will get a message that reminds them to log in. And the message will be based on whether they selected email, text message, or both. So if they selected email, they'll get it via email. Text, they'll get it via text. Both, they will get it both ways. If they have, you know, walked more this week than they walked the week before, they'll get a message congratulating them. So these are all kind of messages that are happening behind the scenes and are automated by the system. And there's no way to kind of edit them or control them at this point. They're just based on the activities. They're based on kind of, you know, behavior change and just trying to motivate people to continue. And then now there is this messaging center that you can send one-off messages. Kind of, I would say tangentially, there's also the coach's ability to send out messages to the people who are assigned to them. So that's not kind of within your administrative purview, but that is within your coach's ability to reach out through their own messaging center to the people who are assigned to them. So it's getting more and more complex with these layers, but hopefully it's more and more helpful. Any questions? I saw Lakin, you raised your hand, but then lowered it. Hopefully okay.
Yeah, you answered my question just now, actually.
Okay, great.
And I actually had that same question, Serena. Do you mind actually just going into that again, how coaches can send messages to their participants? I know the interface is a little different.
Sure. So this is currently an administrative view. Actually, Ellie, can I hold that off until I log in as a coach? That would be great.
Oh, that works. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Because I'm going to show you the registrar feature, and then I am going to log in with a person who is both a coach and a registrar and show you how it looks on their end. So I'll show you the messages when I'm in there. Awesome. Okay, so that is, again, that's under messages. So just feel free to play around with it. If you need me to register for you in your portal and test things with me, let me know. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to go over is this registrar feature. So now this is kind of a new button up here, or a new tab up here at the top of your screen when you're logged in as an admin. So this is similar to like the coaching tab up at the top, but now it's a registration tab. And this is very similar to how you add a coach. You basically are going to add someone who is either a coach or another admin for your portal. Some of you have had a problem with trying to register participants as coaches, and this is going to be the same as for a registrar. So if you have someone who registered in the portal as a participant, and you need to give them a different role, like a coaching role or a registrar role, then you will need to have a different email address for them. So my suggestion is to have that person go into their account and change their participant account email to something else, to a personal email or something like that. Because we cannot have somebody be both a participant and a coach, or a participant and a registrar, or all three. The system just does not work out well. I mean, they can kind of do it, but it doesn't look right. So if you have a participant, just have them change their email to something else before you add them as a registrar or a coach. So you can see here that I have one person in our OA Action Alliance portal who is assigned as a registrar. And you will, if you need to add a new person, you just basically click on Add New Registrar, put in their username. If they aren't already in the system, you can just assign a username to them. I usually do first initial, last name. You can do first name and last initial, whatever you want to do. The email address that they will be logging in with, their first and their last name, and then you click save. They will then get an email that asks them to confirm their account, and then they will be able to log in. If they are already a coach, then the next time they log in, they will see the registration tab on theirs. I don't think they will get an email, but they might get an email. I have to double check on that. But it will just automatically populate. You'll also, oops, let me go here quick. You also, after you have saved them as a new registrar, you'll want to assign them to the groups that they can register people for. So, show you real quick. So right now I have Coach Serena, so that she can register people for the self-directed groups. You can also have them for the Camina con Gusto groups. I think I didn't ask the developer to kind of go further in with the groups to custom groups, but I think I'm going to add that now, so that you'll be able to actually assign a specific registrar to a specific custom group. So that'll be kind of the next thing, and it should just take her a few weeks to update that. But so you'll check which group they can register people for, and then click save. And then I am going to move over to now log in as that coach who is also now assigned as a registrar. Can everyone see my different screen that I just moved over to? Yeah, okay. Okay, so now you can see this is the person that is both a coach and a registrar. So for the coach, they can see, you know, their participants, their reports, and now they have this registration option up top. So you click on registration and you click on home, and it brings up this page. So on this page, it looks a little daunting, but if you have people that you're adding as registrars, just encourage them to really read each step before they go through the process, so they know what they're doing. Because there are a couple different options. I would say option number one is for those populations that really are tech averse. They're not going to want to fill out the registration form online. They really just want you to get them set up in the portal so that they can receive the information that is pushed out via text and email. Those are the people that probably are not ever going to log back into the portal. I would say that's this option one people. Option two is someone who maybe will fill out the survey online, and maybe they'll log into the portal to read the book. They just need kind of that help getting started. So option two basically walks people through step one of the process, so the account creation. And then once the account is created, it triggers a link that is automatically sent to them via text or email so that they can complete the baseline survey on their own. So they're not giving you that information directly. They will do it on their own. So I'm just going to show you these two options real quick. So if I begin with, this is the option one. This is like the totally tech averse. And this looks very much like the registration process, as if they were going to go into the portal and register. So if I am, say, a senior center director and I'm registering people for Walk with Ease, I would literally walk through them and say, okay, you're going to have an option to get either an ebook, or maybe you already have the Walk with Ease book at home. Which option works best for you? And then I would click it. Then I would put in their first and their last names. I would basically read this to them, ask them how they want to receive the motivational messages, ask them if they're interested in the text to log feature. And I would click on each of these options for them. If they only want text messages here, then they will only have to give you their phone number down below. If they only want email, they only have to give you their email down below. If they want both, then you would need both email and phone number. Once you do this, then you're taken, and I'm going to go through this as Registrar, and I'm going to say that I am not interested in either of these. If they're not interested, they will have to give you one or the other. So whichever is they want to do. And I think I have said this before, but if they don't have an email, I usually just say put their first and their last names at ymail.com. For some reason, Ymail works when you're putting in kind of a quote unquote fake email. So I will do that, and then I'll go to the next step. So this is me doing this as a registrar, and it brings me to that baseline survey. So then I would walk through, complete the following registration form to receiver book. And so this, I would basically read them this, and I would ask each question to them, fill it out for them, and then I will hit submit. And then that will basically create the welcome, it'll trigger the welcome message to that person. And then if they have not selected to start, it will send out the weekly messages on a regular basis to them. Does that make sense? Any questions about that part? Okay. I'm seeing that the time is dwindling down. I'm going to try and get through this quick. So then the option for number 2, this is very much the same, but then when they click on the next step, basically that triggers the link to the participant in their email. So email or text, they can put in either. Let's see. For the registrar, they can also go to registration and then, hover down onto participants, and they can see who they have registered. And, when they created the account, when they completed the registration, et cetera. And then again, it's much like the other pieces of the portal where you can add and remove, any columns that you do or don't want to see. Let's see. So that's, let me get back to the registration home just so I can show you the PDF piece too. And then I want to go back to Ellie's question about the messaging. So option 1, option 2, and then this was something actually, Jody, you recommended. Click here for the printable options. So basically what this does is this creates a printable form based on the questions that you have selected in the portal. So if you have a bunch of people who you think are tech challenged and you're going to have them fill out the whole thing, if you click on step 1, it will pull up a printable form that has, the questions in your portal. So they just would fill this out, and then for step 1, and then you could enter it for them afterwards. So say you're at a health fair or something. And then step 2 is the baseline question again. So you want to keep step 1 and step 2 together if you're having them do the whole thing. Again, this pulls directly from your portal. Whatever questions you have enabled in your portal will pull up.
And how do we find these again from if I'm logged in as an admin?
So this is not as an admin, so you would have to
Okay.
assign yourself as a registrar,
Okay.
which you can do, Jody. You would just make yourself a registrar.
Okay. This is cool. Thank you.
Only from the registrar part. Yeah. And then if you have a release waiver, you can print off that too, if you have that for people to acknowledge. There's that option too. So so this is before I switch over to coaching. Any questions about the registrar role? Okay. We at the OA Action Alliance are going to begin using this feature in July well, probably not until August, when we begin working with a clinic in Chapel Hill. So we'll be trying this out. So hopefully it works well for us and hopefully it works well for you too. But as with any of our things, if you have any challenges with it or suggestions for it, just reach out to me. I see something in the chat real quick. Can they use the same email for coach and registrar? Yes. Coach and register, just not participant. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of take off the registrar hat, put the coach hat back on. So for this person, it's the same account. So for participants, so if this coach is assigned, these 4 participants, they can click on they go to, sorry, I'm going too fast. They go to this little envelope at the top, and then they click on which of their participants they want to communicate with. So then they can create the message in here, whatever it may be, and then they'll click send. And that participant will get that message via text, email, or both, depending on what they selected. They cannot reply through the text or the email. Just a reminder. It's just a notification that they should log in. They will get a link to the login page. Log in to check your messages, and then they can respond via the portal too. So this is not like a direct link from like email to email. It all flows through the portal. So does that answer your question, Ellie?
Yes, that's perfect. Thanks so much, Serena.
Okay, great. Yep. Okay. We have 3 minutes left. What questions can I answer for all of you? Nothing? I know that as I mentioned earlier, as we add more things to the portal, it can seem more complicated, and there's more options, and but I think the more you use them, the easier they will be. And if anything gets wonky, always let me know, and I'm happy to help. Okay, well, I think so. We have 2 minutes. Does anyone have anything hot that they want to share or anything? I know that like our Iowa friends have a great campaign they're running right now called Spring into Summer. And I can share that with all of you in an email afterwards. Anyone else having any cool things going on?
Serena, I can just share real quick. If
Yeah.
any of y'all work with any of your DSMES or DPP programs in the state, we did create, we work with our DSMES partners, and I worked with some of the coordinators of those programs to create a diabetes group. So that's one of our groups in our Walk with Ease portal. And then we customized all the messaging. So So it'll have some diabetes related messaging, about people doing foot checks and checking their blood sugars when they're exercising and things like that. So it's new, so we're getting ready to kind of kick that off with some promotional materials, but I'll let you know how it goes.
That's great. Oh yeah, I'll be very interested to hear. That's exactly what we've been wanting to see in those customized templates, is that really tailored messaging for a specific population. And I think that's great, especially thinking about diabetes population and walking and foot checks and wearing the right footwear. And that there's a whole part of Walk with Ease that talks about, the right footwear. And I think that's a perfect lineup. Great. Thanks.
Yeah, and a big part of DSMES is they set um, goals based on what they would like to achieve, whether it's healthy eating or physical activity. So they can really focus in on those people that want to set physical activity as a goal and kind of getting them started, something that's, quick and easy and self-directed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. And DPP has like a physical activity component, but it's not really prescriptive. And so people are often looking for something to kind of fit into there as like a puzzle piece to fit into DPP. So Walk with Ease is a great option. Yeah. Great. So I went over this part. If anyone has any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to chat more about that, and also happy to talk with you if you're having struggles about kind of funding issues and what are you going to do if your funding is no longer there, and how can we continue to help you in that situation. So let me know. So I know it seems like so far away, but our next call is going to be in August 11th. And it'll be here before we know it. So please just mark that date on your calendar, and I'll send out a save the date later on. And hopefully the summer is wonderful for all of you. I hope you have some wonderful plans and ways to beat the heat wherever you may be. Ours is going to involve lots of water, I'm sure. Just we spend lots in different bodies of water, lakes and oceans and pools. So I will see you all in August. And as always, just reach out if you need anything.
Thank you, Serena.
Thank you, Serena.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thanks,
Bye,
Serena.
everyone.
Nice to see everyone today.
Thank you, Jody.